Hey, Dave Fanning here with the Body Form Personal Training Fitness Boot Camps here in Fort Worth, Texas. School's out on Friday. Lots of schools around us are already out, and it's already 100 degrees. It's going to be 100 degrees for about 5 days this week, so it's summertime already. Common summertime mistakes that I see people make, which is, unfortunately, you would hope that it's just the summertime, not a big deal. I can screw it up a little bit, but usually it's pretty fatal to a person's program if they haven't been training for a few years and have a good base, and even then you can still screw it up. So we're going to talk about the 3 major summertime mistakes even smart people make, and I've seen them try it, but usually I can circumvent that with a little bit of coaching and support. So the number 1 most common summertime mistake I see is what's called the I'm just going to take the summer off. I'm just going to take a break. And what happens is they have good intentions, but I think people underestimate the 3, 5, or 10 years that it took them to initially get their act together to get into the gym in the first place and establish these habits. And when you're not actually exercising consistently, every day you're reinforcing the not exercising habit. And it can be a very large hurdle to overcome. And what I see consistently is when they just take the summer off, it falls down to the rule of 3. They return on average 3 years later 30 pounds heavier. It usually takes about 3 years, believe it or not, to get back on the wagon, and usually about a 30-pound weight gain. That's on average. And this is very common. I've worked with thousands of people, and this is what I see very consistently. When you take the summer off, it's a 3-year, 30-pound gain. That's a rule of 3. Unfortunately, this is very common. Not taking the summer off is the first way to avoid the 3-year, 30-pound gain. And that's the key. And the number 2 thing is not having a plan. Going into the summer, if you're still on track, first you avoid this by having a plan. And if you're going into the summer and you know that your routine will be thrown off a little bit, you stop and you make a plan. Because if you think it's just going to happen magically, you forget how hard it was to build that routine that you have through the winter already. So you stop and say, okay, I've got Tuesdays and Thursdays, the kids are in swim lessons from 9:30 to 11. I can get in 30 to 45 minutes from 9:45 to 10:30. That's how you have to look at it. You have to look at where you've got some gaps. You may actually have to put it down on paper and make a plan. Get those 2 to 3 consistent exercise sessions in a week to bridge you through the summer. You don't have to look at making improvements. At times in the summer, all you're doing is reinforcing the showing up habit, and it's going to carry over to all kinds of benefits. You're going to feel better. You're going to think better. You're going to make better food choices. You're going to manage your weight. And most importantly, you're going to be reinforcing over the next 3 months that exercise habit, and you won't go backwards. For a lot of people, they're just like, I'm just glad I didn't gain 30 pounds this summer. And that's the key. Not having a plan, and you fix that by taking less than 10 minutes to sit down and look at where you have some time, get in those 2 to 3 30 to 45-minute workout sessions a week, and that's your base. Everything else on top of that is icing on the cake. The 3rd most common problem, which really feeds into these other 2, is confusing activity with exercise. Going to the pool, chasing the kids, setting up picnics, being outside, which you actually can't do in the summer here in Texas because you'll die, is not exercise. Exercise, by definition, is planned, structured, repetitive, and intentional movement intended to improve or maintain physical fitness. You've already spent the last 9 months, 9 years, 19 years laying down a foundation. Don't confuse activity with exercise. That's where the exercise at 2 to 3 times per week, 30 to 45 minutes, will help reinforce that maintenance and improvement over time, because you're improving your consistency. When you show up, each time you show up to exercise, you're reinforcing the showing up habit. And the showing up habit is the habit that gets you all the benefits over time with exercise. You'll look better. You'll feel better. You'll maintain better health. You'll maintain better relationships. You have better social interactions. You take more actions towards your positive goals. All this is backed up by research. There's no downside. Why would you want to take off from something that enhances your life so much, so beneficially, with so little time investment? Don't make that mistake of the summer. I'm just going to take a break, because breaks end up being a long, arduous screw up that ends up being 3 years and 30 pounds. Have a plan 2 to 3 times per week. You don't have to stay on the same program. If you're training very consistently 5 days, you don't have the time because you're traveling, kids are out of school, you have vacations, who cares? You find the time to stay consistent. It's just for a period of time. And then confusing activity with exercise. You gotta stick with your exercise, resistance training, a little bit of HIIT training, helps carry over into all the other activities you're gonna be doing, and will help you have more fun over the summer in the long run, and helps reinforce, and then you will end up in the fall in better shape than you showed up, and then you have 3 months of reinforcement of keeping your good habits. No downside. Summertime mistakes, how to avoid them, what to avoid, how to fix them, and that's today's video email newsletter. If you like this video, like it, share it, comment below. I'd like to know what you have to do to stay on track during the summer and what works for you. I'd love to hear about it. I'm Dave Fannin with the Body Firm Personal Training Fitness Boot Camps. Hope you guys have a great day.